precise as a button press is, and that's one of the things that was sort of frustrating with the microphone, which is really just a glorified noise detector, and the stylus, which is more or less kind of what you want, except for when it really isn't.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can move on a little bit from Spirit Track. Well, actually, first off, before we move on, uh, what would you guys say then? Like, let's just kind of put it in two categories. Casual gamer, or let's do three categories. You got like the casual gamer, like maybe your mom, younger brother, sister, that don't really play video games a lot. Then there's the Zelda fans, and then there'll be maybe people who are more on the hardcore side of things that think Zelda is a good game, but doesn't know if they should try these handheld games. I like to think that I'm a hardcore gamer, but if I wasn't a guy that liked Zelda already, I don't personally I don't know if I would enjoy Spirit Tracks as much as I actually did. I mean, if I'm talking about for my mom or my sister to play, I would highly suggest that they get to play the game. They should play the game. I think they'll enjoy the game, even with the little problems. They'll probably laugh about it. Whereas I get frustrated, they'll think it's funny that they screwed up.
Yeah.
And obviously for like a hardcore gamer, like, oh man, I got a lot of friends that play like Modern Warfare 2. I probably wouldn't suggest they play this game if I want them to get back into Zelda, maybe. It's not. I think they'd be turned off, and they'd probably think the Zelda series is a joke.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me.
Because I think,
what do you think, Cody?
I think that's what the gimmicks are for. Like, that's the gimmicks are there to impress the people who are seeing this for the first time. To show them, hey, look at our little thing. Look how many little things it can do. Just like phones always have like 800 features, and that's why people want them. So they're just, I guess, trying to impress the new people to the new gamers with their gimmicks and stuff. And I wouldn't really suggest it to a hardcore gamer, though. That's hardcore gamer is a difficult term because there's so many different definitions for that. Like, someone can play Bejeweled for 12 hours a day. They're a hardcore gamer. I mean, they spend all their time gaming, so and yet they would have a different experience with Spirit Tracks to someone who was a hardcore World of Warcraft player.
Okay, Lefty, what do you think? We haven't heard from you for, I don't know, 10 minutes, I think? What do you think about it?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to really decide. The game does, as far as I know, I've noticed so far as I'm playing through, it definitely gets progressively harder with each dungeon, like the way they have it set up. The first dungeon, the forest one, was a piece of cake. You could, little sister, grandpa, anybody could beat that dungeon and not have to blink an eye or anything. But as you get into the next dungeon and the next dungeon, and from what I've heard, that fire dungeon, it gets a lot harder. Am I right?
Yep.
Alright, well then I guess I would put it for Zelda fans, because I know my little sister's playing through the game right now, and I can only imagine when she gets to the third or fourth dungeon how many times she's going to be asking me for help, and how much annoying it's going to be, and how much she probably shouldn't have started playing the game in the first place.
Oh man. TSA, what do you think about the whole question proposed, although it seems that we kind of generally agree so far?
Well, I think that, even generalizing it to say, is it for, as you said, casual, hardcore, or Zelda fans, I think that Spirit Tracks has appeal to all three of those, actually, but I would say that, it's not going to appeal to every Zelda fan, obviously. It's definitely going to appeal to the Zelda fan that enjoyed Phantom Hourglass, is looking for more of that. It's definitely a good expansion from that experience. Definitely going to appeal to the Zelda fans that like the Wind Waker. It has a lot of the art style elements, a lot of the same vibe from it. It's definitely a much cuter / friendly and fun type Zelda game. So it has an appeal to, I don't hesitate to say, the younger audience, but it definitely has that appeal as well. But I mean, as someone said earlier, is it going to appeal to someone who plays Modern Warfare 2? I mean, possibly. I don't know everyone who plays Modern Warfare 2, but someone who's into those types of games. But that's because of their preferences, not because of how, hardcore they are into the game.
How hardcore they are, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Not
because some of the stuff you can do. I mean, who was it that pointed out on one of the sites I read, one of the videos you guys put out recently about trying to get all the rabbits, how it could take like half an hour to hours to just get one rabbit in an area. I mean, that's some dedication right there. And if you don't cheat to get all the treasures like a lot of us did, getting all the train cart parts, that was a nightmare as well. But I mean, it definitely has a lot of appeal. I think it's got a lot of good like action sequence moments in it, or these really well crafted sequences, such as like the minecart mini game, or even the boss with riding on the minecart. I mean, these sequences are really well done. But obviously, it has just as many things that it doesn't do well. I think its biggest like core mechanic, the train, ended up being one of its biggest flaws. So it got a little bit tedious towards the end. But I mean, I would say it's got a good appeal. It definitely will appeal to those who want a more accessible type of game that are looking to get into gaming. And you didn't give Phantom Hourglass a try. Spirit Tracks has a little bit more substance to it. I think it definitely will appeal to most Zelda fans, and those who are looking for something on par with like World of Warcraft or something with a lot of action and stuff like that. Maybe not so much. So it's not too traditional in the sense, but it's still a pretty good game.
That's actually a good point here, because we should kind of get into the next topic, which is the Zelda Wii and the upcoming game that is coming this year, coming next year, whenever it actually comes out. First off, what do you want, and what do you think is actually going to happen? And let's start with TML this time.
Story is why I play games. That's about 90% of anything, and then as long as you have good gameplay on top of that, I'll be a happy camper forever. So I definitely want a story, and I want two things out of the story. I don't want it to be the same trite, Ganondorf has kidnapped Zelda, we need to go get the Master Sword and 3 of something else, and then we need to go kill him just to get, the Triforce of Power out of his hands. It's tried, we've done it, every console first release, that's been the basic story. I don't want that. I want something else, and I don't know exactly what that something else is. I think they can come up with something pretty darn creative. The other thing that I want is I want a good final boss that isn't Ganondorf. Vaati has been the closest they've come to that. But let's be honest, Malladus wasn't, I didn't feel threatened by him, it was just whatever. Bellum from Phantom Hourglass, he didn't even, emerge until the very end of the game. Majora's Mask was actually fairly good, but, we haven't seen him since, so, I want something that sort of it strikes fear into me, because I haven't felt that, Zant felt that way for a long time until his temper tantrum, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna kill you now, and hopefully you don't mind too much, but that was it. It was it was like character assassination right there, so... I'm hoping for, I'm very inspired by the fact that they're saying, yes, we're going to, make this a much grander scale until we have the exploration, we have hopefully a decent plot, and as long as it's not the same plot over again, which I think they'll probably, figure out since they've realized they've been doing it, I think I'll be happy.
Okay, let's go with Lefty. What do you want and think is going to happen with the next game?
Well, I touch on what TML was talking about with story. Don't do what they did with Twilight Princess, in the sense that it seemed like it was going to be an epic story, lots of background, all sorts of things could be happening all at once. You get past the first, I think it was 3 or 4 dungeons, and then you're looking for the pieces of the mirror, and it just kind of the bottom drops out. All this story, all this build up, everything, and then you have 4 or 5 dungeons in a row getting those mirror pieces, and it was no story, nothing.